Welcome everyone to a new bow review, and this week we will review the Daylite Archery Monarq, one of the premium bows of Daylite Archery, well actually the most premium bow they have, and this is a really nice bow in my opinion. It is very well designed and it is nicely with a thick handle, and the thicker handle means it is a true Korean bow. And that way, the other bows I reviewed have a smaller handle, and the bigger the handle is, well not the bigger, but this big handle means that you can hold it truly Korean. So one of the nice features of this bow that is, it's not that expensive. It is around 280 euros or $280, and for that you'll get a bow with a premium look. There's some nice coverage over the limbs. I believe it's a sticker, more of a sticker with some feel to it. You get a leather arrow rest, so the arrow rest itself isn't that premium, as you can see in here. I already shot with it a few times and it's wearing out, same as this part. The handle itself is thick, some kind of cork that happens with Korean bows, and the wrapping around it, that sadly is just suede or something, and that is not that premium though. But the bow itself, it is very nice. I really like this Daylite Archery bow. It is nicely flexible here, but quite stiff the other part, and the bow itself performs, for me at least, very well. It is a premium bow in that sense that it has all kinds of markings on there and a thicker handle, but I think the material is not that different, except they claim that they use a different style of more premium carbon in between, but the rest of the bow, the tips, the arrow rest, the handle, it's all the same wrapping that we have with the Fairy, with the Skywalk, with some of Freddy Archery's, his bows. So in that aspect it's not that premium. But I must say, for 280 euros with this handle, this has a really nice experience. So I will tell you about the experience of the drawing of the bow. So the bow itself performs, in my opinion, very well. So once we get a nice draw in there, I can draw it all the way to the back until the 32-inch mark of the arrow, and I don't feel any resistance at all in this bow. So that means I can draw it at full length, at least for me, and here it starts to give a little bit of feedback. Now the release itself also is very good. Because of the thicker handle, you can release it really nice. Something with this bow, I only have with this bow, is that I hit my inner arm on the front part more often, so on this part. Might be something of my doing, might be something of the bow itself, because I only experience it with this bow and also the Skywalk of Daylite Archery, but none in the other bows I shot with I have this. Leave a comment if you think I'm doing something wrong. But that's the only thing I encounter with this bow. So the draw weight of this bow is 35 pounds. When I draw it back, it feels a little bit like 35 pounds, but it has a very smooth draw curve. It's as heavy all along, and there's no peak in there or any subtlety though. But when I draw it back nicely, oh, that was a nice accurate shot, dead center. It releases very well. If you get your focus right, if you get your grip right, this is a really good bow. And because of the thicker handle, you have a lot of more control over it. So that means when drawing, I can really grab it tight. Well, I shouldn't, but when you release, you don't feel any vibrations in the bow at all. If I do it like this, I do feel a little bit of vibration, but it's like 1, 2, and it's gone. Maybe in the limbs, you can feel it a little bit longer, but in the handle, it fades away like 1.5 seconds before that. So as you can see, like I said, for the Korean draw, this is a masterpiece because look how far I can draw it. That was the maximum I could draw, maximum of the 32-inch arrow. No problems at all with this bow. Because the handle is taped, your hands get a little bit sweaty, and I don't think if you're going to shoot for a very long time that this is very good for the suede or the fake leather which is here. But I think in the end, if you wear a glove or anything, you don't encounter any problems with that. So they use a few types of wood, and I'm going to read them out now. They use Daylite, a fiberglass, a hard maple, fiberglass, and like I said, they use a different type of carbon, a high modulus carbon. The bow sizes come from 44 to 46 to 48, 50 and 53 inches, with a draw length up to 34 inches if you have the 53-inch bow. They start up at 30 pounds draw weight into a 60 pounds draw weight. I think the 60 pound is also only for the 53-inch version of the bow. Here I have the 50-inch, not the 53-inch, and for me it draws perfectly. I think it's even drawing a little bit further than the 32-inch maximum draw, but as you could see, it is perfect, and up here it starts stacking a little bit. So like I said previously, the arrow pass is made from a type of leather. Included you get a Korean fast flight string, but because the arrow pass, by the way, is from leather, it does wear out pretty quick. I didn't shoot that much with this bow, and it's already from the grayish blue until a very gray and damaged. Same with the handle. If the handle was made from a different material, or this would have been made from ray skin, then it would have been a lot more durable. So I already did a few shots with this bow, but let me demonstrate a few more shots. So for the Korean draw it all the way to the back, and no problems at all with drawing it that far back. I mean, it feels so smooth. I don't feel any vibration in the handle itself, and it feels so good drawing this bow back with no resistance at all. If you've been shooting with the thinner handle for a while, then that changes a bit, of course, with the thicker handle. But once you've adapted to that, I mean, I don't want to go back to any other bow with a thinner handle. This just feels way more controlled. Well, that grip wasn't that steady, but it feels more controlled. And I believe that this is one of the few bows I have in my stock that actually makes me very happy when I draw. And most of the part, like I said, is because of the thicker handle. And the thicker handle is truly Korean. Most of the cheaper bows don't have that. I think that's how they save a little bit of money on the production. But all the Korean bows should have the thicker handle. I also have the Nomad from Freddy Archery. That's even a little bit cheaper, but it looks also a little bit cheaper if you look closely. That comes in another review, but normally the thicker handle, at least at Freddy Archery, is around 500 euros for the authentic bow, and I believe that is a truly premium bow. Don't have my hands on it yet, but soon I will. So now comes the verdict of this bow. I've been talking a lot about it, especially the thicker handle, because I really like the thicker handle. But first of all, the quality versus price. In my opinion, it's totally worth to buy this bow. I'll give it 5 stars. 5 stars for quality versus price, because I think it's perfectly set at just above average for a Korean bow, but because it's a little bit above average, you get a thicker handle, you get a very nice performing bow. So the next point is the material. For the material, for a premium bow, I would have wished they put on a ray skin arrow pass and maybe a little bit more premium part of the leather itself. Let me show you, by the way, because the wrapping here, down here, it's not that nicely wrapped. I mean, it functions and it doesn't bother you during the shooting, but for the quality, strangely enough, I'm gonna give it 3.5 points, because I think for around 280 euros, I mean, it could be a little bit better quality for the handle and the arrow pass. For that it's worth 2 total points, because after shooting it for 2 months, it is a waste, but it does get damaged. I lent this bow out a lot, so not everyone uses the arrow pass as well. But if you don't use the arrow pass and it touches the leather part, suede part over here, it does get worn out very, very quick. The rest of the bow doesn't get damaged, so the wrapping around it is nice, and the tips, it's just a cheap leather, but that is fine. The tips on the inside, they're under very good, although this one wiggles a little bit, so maybe not that good. So according to the price, I'll give it 3 stars for the material. Now the draw experience, I've demonstrated it, but the draw experience for me, it is very nice. I mean, this is my maximum draw, and it gets there very, very easy, very fluently. And normally with the bows I have, it starts stacking around here, and I mean this draws until here, and here it starts stacking. When I do this, I feel a vibration in the handle for 1.5, maybe 2 seconds, but after that, then it's gone. In the limbs, you feel it a little bit longer, but for the draw experience, I give it also 5 stars. Now, that means the total of it, I think, is around 4 stars, a 5-star, 3-star, and a 5-star. And I would really recommend this bow. You can buy it at KoreanBowShop.nl. Also from outside of the Netherlands, of course, we can ship international. And then you'll have it pretty quick. I mean, Daylite Archery sends to me within a few days, custom made bows maybe even. So check out KoreanBowShop.nl, check out the Monarq bow. Well, you just watch the review of around probably 12 minutes. So this is nice, the bow is nice, and I'll see you guys next time.